Hello and welcome back to Helluva Podcast. I'm Alex.
And I'm Oddie, the O is silent.
And today we are talking... You couldn't even keep it together till the first line. Oddie wanted to do a bit.
This is my new thing. We all know the intro at this point, right? Unless you're new, which is why Alex said I'm not allowed to do something unrecognizable.
Yeah, incomprehensible, yeah.
I think, you know, I'm gonna run out of bits eventually. It's gonna start getting incomprehensible at some point.
I do most of the intro, so we'll be fine.
Yeah. But this is the new thing. You just gotta get with it, bruv. You gotta get with it.
We're gonna have like one British listener, and they're gonna be so mad at you.
We gotta lock in, bruv.
Alright, but today we're talking about Season 2, Episode 7.
Mammon's Magnificent Musical Mid-Season Special.
See, whenever you do an English accent, you get into this weird twinge, and I have no fucking idea what it is. It's like Midwestern almost.
I'm trying to do like not Cockney, but like, you know, sort of like rough around the edge. I can do posh as well. I can do a posh British accent.
I think your posh is a little better.
It is, yeah. I worked on it very hard when I was like 7 years old. But I don't know, this is more fun, isn't it? Anyway, we're talking about Season 2, Episode 7. We're trying to get through the whole thing in this episode. So
we're not off to a good start.
We're not off to a good start. If we go a little fast, that's why. It's probably still a long episode either way.
You know all this, if it's a one-part or a two-part, or if it's long or not.
Yeah, it'll say in the title if it's a part 1. If you don't see that in the title, then we did it.
We did it.
Most recent episodes that have been released as of the time we're recording this are Season 2, Episode 9, Apology Tour, and then the Helluva Short 3, Wee O Boo Boo. And new newsletter if you're not signed up, but you want to be and you want to get the next one.
It's also cool because we never are actually, like, coming out with a newsletter a few days before this releases, like, or a few days after the podcast releases. It's usually it's been on, like, a Saturday or, like, a Friday these last bit of times. So, yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna go out on, what?
Tuesday. October 1st.
Yeah, so this will come out on Sunday, so...
Yeah. So in 2 days, you have 2 days to sign up.
And where can they find the sign up?
In the link tree in our Instagram bio at
AA Discussions.
Yeah. We'll say that at the end if you need it in a not British accent, but you'll have to listen to the whole episode to get to the end where we do that.
Because if you've been listening to all the episodes, you definitely don't know the Instagram by now.
Totally. Anyway,
getting into business, or out of business, into the episode.
Yeah.
I just wrote Mammon in big capital letters because I didn't want to rewrite the title.
Mammon. Here we go. Teen Blitz and Fizz.
Yeah, this is our opening sequence when they're kids and they're at the Mammon
festival
concert performance thing.
Yeah. Love Teen Blitz and Fizz. Want more of them as teens.
Yeah, because I feel like if we got one intimate conversation of them as teens, it would fix everything.
Yeah,
it would. Like we'd know everything.
We would know everything we need to know. Yeah. Fizz as a teen is wearing green eyeshadow and a bunch of bracelets and a crop top. Blitz is wearing a choker, a low cut tank top.
Yeah.
Faggots.
Yeah, you said it on the podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no other word for it, really.
Yeah, these are the queerest motherfucking teens.
Yeah.
And then, also, I don't know if they both have black nail polish on, or if it's just their hand designs.
Yeah.
Because Blitz's hands are always covered.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's nail polish. I think it's meant to be.
Which I really like.
Yeah.
Not only do they have grunge-ass black nail polish, like every single teen who went through a phase adjacent to that, but then they also have matching nail polish.
Yeah. They both got tank tops, they got matching nail polish. It's fucking cute.
Yeah. When Mammon asks the crowd who wants to be a big clown like him one day, Blitz and Fizz both cheer, I do. Which is funny because that really drastically shifts like 30 seconds later for Blitz.
Yeah.
And also I think Blitz, I don't know if Blitz is going I do. I think he might be going me.
Which is so funny.
Because they're overlapped.
It's giving Jamie Tart and Ted Lasso when he just points at his own jersey and goes, me!
Yeah, true. You got Ted Lasso on the brain because of your accent, don't you?
Oh, I got it on the brain, bro! But yeah, as it shifts immediately, Mammon explains the new clown pageants. Blitz is immediately skeeved the fuck out.
He makes like a ooh face.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Fizz's eyes are literally, like, glowing with excitement. He's like, ooh.
Yeah, and then Mammon says, I'll be like the stepdad who loves you when it's convenient. And Fizz goes, wow.
Standards are, the bar is on the floor.
Standards are, like, in a grave underground.
Yeah, below hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is traumatized. And then after the show, Blitz says, all right, I'm going to say it. That was too many clowns.
Which is like, I get that it's meant to be like Blitz didn't enjoy it, but
yeah,
like, that's so specific.
Yeah.
Was there too many clowns? How many clowns?
I feel like just the one main clown was the bad one. Like,
yeah,
were the other clowns really an issue?
And also they have so many clowns at their circus. Like, we've seen how many goddamn clowns are there.
Yeah. Does Blitz like the circus? Does he like clowns? What are his goals at this point in life?
Yeah,
regarding circus tree.
Yeah, I think right now, like, he's probably still very ingrained in it, and, like, even if he's not planning on doing it for the rest of his life, like, he still at least thinks he loves it, because it's his whole world.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think I would love if this was the moment where Blitz was like, yeah, I hate circus arts.
Yeah.
Like, but, yeah.
Yeah. Blitz says he doesn't want Fizz to work for Mammon, quote, like a creepy mascot. Doesn't want him to get hurt. Maybe just doesn't want him to leave the circus.
Yeah.
And by leaving the circus, leave Blitz.
And then going back to, like, is Blitz staying at this point? Does he know, like, at this point, does he think he's going to stay into adulthood? Or does he, like, is he like, I'm getting the fuck out of here as soon as I can?
At the very least, like, he's definitely not planning on going with Mammon. I think it's just definitely a situation of wanting Fizz to be close to him so he can protect him, which is ironic considering what happened. But yeah, I wonder if like Fizz had stayed at the circus, like, and not tried to go, or no, I guess the fire happens before he goes with Mammon, but like, I don't know.
Which I need to know if Mammon, like, I want to know the timeline of that because I presume that Fizz won one of the pageants.
Yeah.
Because he's been doing them for 10 years. Like, I'm assuming that's how he got in. Mm-hmm. But was that, like, the first thing he did once he was fully recovered? Where is Cash Buxo in this picture? Because he was there when he was first recovering. Like, him to just up and leave him if it took 5 years to recover makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But, like, did he have any stake in that? Like, I want to know way more about Fizz's, like, road to recovery and how he got where he is now. Like, obviously, we know that, like, the Mammon stuff, but how did he get to the Mammon stuff?
I wonder if he ever, like, when he was, like, you know, recovering but pre-Mammon, if he ever worked at Lululand, and that's why they ended up putting a Fizzbot there.
Maybe. Because Blitz works there.
Yeah. Maybe, like, Blitz was trying to, like, track him down, and he gets there, but then by that point they've replaced him with a robot, and he's like, God damn it! And then they hire him to make balloons.
Yeah. I do wonder if there is anything, because 5 years, like, that makes sense for a recovery timeline, but also to go right into performing at a pageant.
Yeah.
That would mean you have to do, like, a bunch of really intense work as a brand figure right after. Like, I think you'd have to be fully recovered. I think you'd at least, like, at a minimum, he's doing, like, circus PT, which would be crazy if that's universe canon. Yeah. But more realistically, he's doing, like, a lower intensity circus-related job or performance-related job.
I wish we had a sense of how long recovery takes in Hell, because all we have to go off of is Stolas.
And that doesn't count for, because he's not an imp.
He's not an imp, he's like royalty, and also we don't really get to see that recovery anyway. It's very unclear. Yeah.
But we do know under 5 years for Fizz. Maybe not till full recovery, but till he was able to do Mammon stuff.
Yeah.
Blitz, so Fizz is like talking down on himself like he always is.
Yeah.
And Blitz is like, if anyone's gonna get like that, like everyone's gonna win one of those stupid pageants, it's you, and he winks at him.
Yeah, which is insane.
Yeah, could just be like, you know, like, you got it, bud.
No.
But it's not.
Homeboy is pining his fucking ass off. Homeboy is and it's down bad.
It's such a quick moment. I did not realize it till this watch, and I've watched this episode like 4 maybe times.
Yeah.
It's so quick.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he's down bad. And I want to know from this to the birthday, how long?
Yeah.
Because they look the exact same age.
Yeah, they do. Same day. Imagine imagine?
They went for his birthday, yeah.
Wait. Oh, no, it's possible.
No, probably not. I'm imagining a celebration for Fizz's birthday at the circus is probably an all-day thing.
Yeah, so maybe not, like, same day, but
they're walking back at night, yeah.
But this could be, like... This could be a birthday thing that they're doing, just the two of them. This could be, like, 2 days before. Yeah. Holy shit.
It could be a year before, we don't know.
Yeah.
Because Vivzy does not make timelines fucking clear, ever.
Fucking God. Anyway.
And, like, it works in your favor, but, like, I want to know.
Mammon's Fizz's idol, kind of, yeah. Not much I'll say about that. Blitz asks, was it worth all our savings? Where'd they get savings?
I'm wondering if
I have some?
Well, clearly they didn't have a lot.
Yeah, true.
I'm wondering if they get, like, dividend pay or something from performing, like, maybe if they get tips or if they get, like, 2% or whatever.
They could also be stealing shit.
They could be stealing shit. Or, like...
Maybe Blitz got a cut from the circus thievery that he did when he met Stolas as a child.
Maybe. That's the savings. That would be great. That would be great. And then he's calling it our savings.
Yeah.
I feel like what's most likely is either, they're stealing shit and getting money, or they're straight up stealing money.
Yeah.
Or they're getting, like they're working some kind of thing in the circus and getting paid for it. But in the circus, I feel like you typically work a lot of odd jobs and don't get paid extra, so I don't know.
Yeah. Also, Cash Buxo is in charge of it, so, like...
Yeah, but if they were...
He's pocketing shit.
That's true. If they were working, like, box office, though, and they got slipped, like, a 5,
Yeah.
Or whatever hell money is.
Hell money. All money is hell money.
True. And then Blitz... after he says it would be you, Fizz, he nuggies Fizz.
Yeah.
Which is cute.
It's cute. They're so cute.
Yeah.
Hard pivot.
Yeah.
Fizz already had, crazy fans and is, being exploited and objectified by those fans at this point when they're, 16-ish.
Yeah, they're minors.
Yeah. They're, both being exploited inherently by the performance art, but, this is, the creepy fan shows up and he, Blitz says this is the guy who creeps around our dressing rooms.
Yeah. Which I thought that wording was really interesting.
Yeah.
Because do they share a dressing room or does he creep on both of them? Because he very clearly just has an interest in Fizz in this moment.
Yeah.
But is he creeping around both of them?
Yeah.
What?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could be nothing.
It could be nothing. It is interesting though.
Yeah. And the fact too that this actively he has a history. He's actively been creeping around their dressing rooms, and now he's approaching them in the dark.
Yeah.
Terrifying. Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah. And he calls Fizz elitist, which, again, this is a 16-year-old, roughly, give or take.
But it's really interesting because it does evolve. Fizz is actively called elitist all the fucking time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's interesting that it started early.
Yeah. Blitz is already, has the role of protecting Fizz physically from fans, possibly at home in some situations.
Yeah, I'm wondering, I don't even know if Cash ever, tries to hurt Fizz.
Yeah.
But also I could obviously Cash has a lot of resentment to Blitz just because he's his son. And he's not good at circus. But also I do wonder if it is partly, if Blitz is the scapegoat in this situation.
Yeah.
He likes Fizz and presumably doesn't hate Barbie. Because we'd have no reason to believe he does. Because Blitz is always getting in the way and always, even getting himself in trouble to,
Yeah. If Fizz does something wrong, Blitz probably jumps in and is oh no, that was me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or even, does something worse.
Yeah.
That would make a lot of sense.
Yeah. Then we get the thesis statement of the episode where Fizz says, I have to be perfect, and Blitz says, do you?
Yeah. This is very Save the Cat paced, I realized, because this is, theme stated.
Yeah.
Or is that Hero's Journey? Either way.
Hero's Journey, I forget.
It might be both.
Yeah.
Theme stated, though. Mm-hmm. It's, it's correctly placed as well. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
Getting a little meta.
A little meta. We do a little meta sometimes.
Then we go to the Mammon commercial, because it cuts so abruptly to that.
Yeah, yeah. I could have watched a whole thing that was just Blitz and Fizz as teenagers.
Yeah, and I want to.
I want to. Yeah, the creepy fan and Mammon both refer to Fizz as Fizzy.
Yeah.
And the robots are called Fizzies.
Yeah. And Ozzy ends up calling him Fizzy
and now
as well.
Ozzy calls him Fizzy, and that's like, you know, that's meant to be like an affectionate, sweet thing, and we don't see Fizz react negatively to that, but like, how could he possibly feel about that?
I do wonder how he feels about that. And also, like, not Mammon, Ozzy's very aware of the Fizzbot being called Fizzies, I'm sure.
Yeah, and he, like, says something later, like, I hate having to make these, like, sex toys modeled after, like, he doesn't
Which I don't know that those are the Fizzbots necessarily.
No, but similar objectification of his boyfriend. Like, he's very much against it.
And I think that Fizzy in his setting does stem from the Fizzy Frog nickname. But, yeah, it is interesting. I wonder how Fizz feels about it. Like, even if he's fine with it now because he feels comfortable with Ozzy, like, how did he feel the first time he said it? Because we know Homeboy didn't say anything about it if he was uncomfortable.
What if it originally was Ozzy's nickname for him and then Mammon corrupted it instead of the other way around, though?
I mean, that would imply that they've been intimate enough to have a nickname for, like, 10 years.
Like, 5 years.
Well, he's been working for Mammon for 10 years.
We don't know when the Fizzbots came into play, though.
But I presume Mammon's been calling him this for a while. Just because, like, you know, that's how he is.
Yeah, I just feel like it makes more sense for, like, it to have been Ozzy's nickname that Mammon stole versus Mammon calling him Fizzy and then Ozzy being like, oh, I'm gonna call him Fizzy too. Like,
yeah,
and
in the plot of the show as well, like, that it does get corrupted. Like, we see Ozzy call him that first.
Yeah.
So, like, at a minimum, in the theme of the show, it is corrupted by Mammon, and the fan. But, I mean, the fan called him that first. Yeah. Regardless.
Oh, yeah, and that was when they're teens.
Yeah.
And Blitz we only ever hear him call him Fizz, so Fizzy doesn't seem to be a childhood nickname or anything.
Yeah, because that would be another thing. Like, there's some names that, like, they always get that nickname.
Yeah.
But I don't think that is the case.
Yeah. You want to take the next one, because it's kind of your wheelhouse.
Audie sees disability ref and goes, hey, you want to take this one?
No, it's your thought.
So I was thinking a lot, and I don't. This is not a full form thought, about how the Fizzies or the Fizzbots tie into disability rep, because, you know, standard making robots of someone who is disabled is, you know, not great.
Yeah.
And very often, very commonly done. And it is interesting, though, because, like, Fizz does have robotic limbs, so it's like that. I would imagine that's part of the, like, inspiration to make these bots.
Yeah.
And so in that way, like, I don't know, it's associating a disabled person or character, I guess not really a person, a demon, with a machine, with the machine.
Yeah.
And, like,
conflating the two
is interesting to me. Again, I don't really have a fully formed thought on this. It also, the relationship of Fizz and to the, like, cyborg is really interesting to me, because it's like I'm wondering, is that how, like, Mammon and, like, the people making the products view Fizz? Like, do they not view him as fully demon?
Yeah. I'd be interested to read Fizz through the lens of the Cyborg Manifesto.
Yeah, me too.
Great fucking text. And I would also be curious, in universe, this wouldn't really be a credit to the show because they haven't really, I don't know, maybe they're getting to this, but, like, if the Fizzbots are, like, you know, designed after Fizz's prosthetics, like, that's sort of like a in-universe representation for other disabled people. Yeah. Not that the Fizzbots are good, like, they're very much used for sexual purposes and objectifying him, but if it's, like, I don't know, that could be a good thing that they're doing, even if it's not intentional. Yeah. Like, and it would sort of align with what we see in this episode with Fizz and the deaf fan, which we'll get to, but...
It's also really, really interesting to me because in the beginning, Mammon says, I don't know if it's sex bot or sex doll. But it's one of the two, and I want to say it's sex bot. I'll make a sex bot of you, maybe if it makes me money, something along those lines. Yeah. So obviously that's before the fire, that's before Fizz becomes disabled and has his prosthetic limbs. So it's like, it is an idea he's had before. Yeah. So it's entirely possible that, you know, Fizz won, and then he was like, all right, I'm doing my brand baby thing, you know? But he's the first one. Yeah. Which is really interesting to me.
Yeah. I think also with the Fizzbots, like in canon obviously are treated as a bad thing.
Yeah.
Like the show itself isn't like glorifying them. It's being like, this is a thing that exists and it's fucked up, right?
Right.
So I think like I don't know. I don't again, don't want to give them credit that they haven't earned yet,
right.
Famous last words, but it would be very easy for them if they wanted to make this really cool point of, like, reversing or subverting the whole stereotype of, like, disability being completed with machines. They've already got this perspective of, like, hey, this disabled person is being conflated with this machine. Isn't that fucked up? They have such a golden opportunity to go against that. I don't know that they're going to. I think they're probably just gonna, like, on the surface level, like, sexual objectifying, not good.
Yeah.
I don't know that they'll go into the disability aspect of it, but they very easily could.
It is really interesting because I feel like disability is, like, the only thing that other than, like, story elements and things, which that's even tricky with the show.
Yeah.
But as far as, like, representation-wise, I feel like disability is one of, if not the only thing they've done even decently well.
Yeah.
So...
Well, and, like, gay people.
Yeah.
But that's just kind of,
Yeah, that's kind of the premise of the show.
And even then, honestly.
Yeah, and I think also, like gay people, yes, but then, like, gay relationships and gay abuse and everything that comes along with that, they've done horribly.
Yeah, or complicatedly, or we'll see.
Yeah, I also think, like Helluva Boss, not necessarily, but in the entire, and I know that they might not exactly be the same universe, but everything that Vizzy Pop has created, the other show has a lot more iffiness on that.
Yes.
But anyway, they've done pretty good with disability rep so far. And so, if they were gonna do anything Shining Star, like, this would be the thing. Like, you've already set up the stuff. If you were gonna subvert, like, machines and disability, and, like, it would be so cool. And it'd be so good. And there's so much built up for it.
Yeah.
And, like, obviously they have, like, I would be so surprised if they did not bring in an ASL console for this episode specifically.
Yeah.
Just because when we'll get to this, but the ASL is, like, perfect almost.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone on the team, unless anyone on the team, is deaf or, like, in the deaf community, like Coda or anything like that, I don't think would have been able to create something like that.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is I presume that they're already reaching into, like disability communities, for support. So I don't know why they wouldn't for progressing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. Fizz has been Mammon's brand figure for 10 years, as we've talked about, and he's won 10 pageants in a row. It bids the question, if he recovered in less than 5 years, did he ever do a pageant and lose?
Right. Like, was he trying for, like, a few years, and then he finally got in, and has won since then? It's possible.
Or did he win from the get-go, and this has just been his life since he's recovered?
Yeah.
Because I feel like that, like... Obviously, either one would make sense because of how he is, just because he was his childhood.
Yeah.
But... Like, if it's so much more intense if he just got back into the world and immediately was a brand figure.
Yeah. I mean, it is also possible that he, like, recovered and wasn't, like, trying out for this. He just kind of had his own separate life, and then he was like, oh, actually...
But I think even if he had his own separate life, like, that's less of a whiplash than if he, like, immediately was like, I'll try out for this, I've got the energy now, and then boom.
Yeah, no, for sure. But I think it'd also be a different level of fucked up if, like, he had, like, a separate life going for him, and then, like, maybe he got into the mindset of, like, I'm not worth anything if I'm not performing. I should try it. And so he leaves behind this other life he has.
Or even if he was performing at a low grade, like at Lululand or something. Yeah. I want to know how Fizz got here. That's all I want to know.
Yeah.
Not all I want to know, but...
Yeah. Ozzy and Fizz.
Ozzy and Fizz. This is such a long bullet point, fair warning.
Oh gosh. Okay, let's breeze through it as best as we can. Fizz's chest, as far as we can see, is mostly not scarred.
Yes, it's mostly red because he's got his little robe on and it's open.
Which is interesting because a lot of Blitz's chest and like torso is scarred. So reverse sort of.
And actually, we have in the notes that it's his whole torso that's mostly not scarred, but that's not true because when he makes a crop top later, it's completely white. Which makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Ozzy does not want Fizz to do the pageant, hates Mammon fundamentally, straight up says he sucks.
Yeah.
The voice of reason
here. He fucking sucks, is what he says.
Yeah. Fizz is terrified about having a tiny imperfection in front of Mammon, like the tiny little mark.
Yeah, and it's like on the top of his head, too. Yeah. It's like barely visible.
I was like, what the fuck is he talking about? That thing?
Yeah.
That's what you're worried about? Fizzy.
Also, the foundation thing. I need to know if Mammon like hid his foundation so that he could be like, but what if you just don't go?
If Ozzy. Yeah. Mammon hid his foundation.
I'm the worst.
No.
Maybe I'm making parallels that are just.
You're on a different wavelength.
Yeah,
you're above it all.
But no, yes, if Ozzy hid his foundation, because Ozzy has it.
Yeah.
But it's also possible that Fizz just, like, put it somewhere. And he's like, here it is.
Yeah. Fizz says, I want to make Mammon proud. He's really passionate about the craft of clown.
Yeah, the craft of clown.
Which is so fucking funny.
Because, like, it is an art form. Like, it's very, like, theater-esque, but, like...
But also, like, with so much passion. He's really passionate about the craft of clown. Yeah. Like, on the verge of a breakdown.
Homie would love, like, performing Shakespeare or some shit. Like, he'd find a theater niche, and that would be his thing.
Yeah. To be or not to be. But in Alex Brightman voice.
Yeah.
We know be or not to be.
We know canonically that there is theater in hell because Moxie's done it.
Yeah.
I really would love to see Fizz get into like community theater.
Yeah. Bro, we didn't need to see Moxie do it to know that theater is in hell.
Well, yeah, but we know that musical theater as we know it in the real world exists.
Yes. Hell. Yeah. Including, like, Broadway plays.
Yeah.
And not even, like, spin-offs of them. Just,
like they just exist.
Yeah, which is so funny.
I think the fact that Phantom of the Opera specifically exists on such a high level is really funny because, like,
Yeah. 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 Another sort of thesis statement moment of his being, like, he expects perfection, so I gotta be perfect. Yeah. Bro has performance trauma is essentially the point here. Was probably punished for underperforming in the circus, if he ever did, or like, you know, Blitz had to take the fall for him in those situations, like we said.
And also, I think if he ever underperformed with Mammon, like, and he got punished for that, he was probably like, okay, yeah, because like that's how he grew up.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, okay, yeah, that when you do bad, you get beat or something, you know, like.
Yeah.
He's like, all right, yeah.
Yeah, verbally and/or physically abused if you make a mistake. That's what life is.
It's normal.
Hang on, wait, this is normal, right?
Wait.
What?
Hold on, I
gotta make some calls.
And then when Ozzy says that Fizz isn't perfect, this part breaks my heart every fucking time. Because he goes, you ain't perfect, and Fizz looks up and I'm like, what?
He's devastated.
And then he goes, no one is, and then his pupils literally just zoom.
Yeah.
Like, he's more scared.
Yeah.
He's like, no, I'm fucking perfect, bitch. Like, he has so many, like, not walls in the way of, like, he's shutting everyone out, which, like, probably, but walls in the way of, like, he has so many, like, precariously stacked things keeping up this persona and this, like, being able to function.
Yeah.
And if one thing falls, he's on the verge of a breakdown just like Blitz. 24/7. And we see that in this episode.
Yeah. Yeah. He says, I just have to do this. Which, homie, you never have to do anything. Yeah. If it sucks, hit the brakes.
Also, the delivery on that is, I just have to do this.
Yeah.
It's like uninterested.
Yeah, and he genuinely sees it as like a thing he has to do. Yeah. Like an obligation.
Homeboy, you can quit your job.
You can quit your day job.
And he does. I don't know if this is the day job. But he does learn. Yeah. He does learn that.
And then,
you want to take this one because this was you.
Yeah. So Ozzy says, let me rephrase. I don't like how many creeps you have now thanks to Mammon, and I don't like designing sex toys with your likeness for him, which gives such similar energy. This is such a parallel, but in BoJack Horseman, when Yolanda, the axolotl, says, doesn't it bother you that you have no direction in life? And Todd says, not really. And then she says, let me rephrase. It bothers me that you have no direction in life. It's
the same.
Similar energy.
It's so good.
Ozzy's like, don't you hate performing for Mammon? And Fizz is like, no, I have to. And Mammon's like, okay, not Mammon, I did it too. Ozzy's like, let me rephrase. I don't like this.
Yeah. No, the thing, I think the actual, not to like step on your toes, but I think the actual thing is, kind of brings us into, something, did I even write it down? If I didn't write it down, we need to talk about it. So basically, not Mammon, Ozzy. Ozzy says something about, like, don't you not like the sex toys?
Yeah.
And Fizz says... Oh. Did you find it?
You did write this down. It's, like, next, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I found it. Okay.
Yeah.
I just don't think about it. A toy is a toy.
Yeah. Which is...
So, let's write this down. 1... I just don't think about it. Mm-hmm. Actively having to, like, shun it away from your mind so you don't think about it.
Yeah, bro's compartmentalizing out
Yeah, like, he's just full out, like, disconnecting that from himself. Mm-hmm. So that he doesn't feel bad about it, which is,
hurts.
And then a toy is just a toy kind of, you know... Mm-hmm. associates him with being, like, an object.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't know if it's seeing himself as an object or seeing he just deserves the same as an object and, like, deserves being sexualized. Like, that's just...
It's very, like, minimalizing it, like, saying it's just a toy. Like,
yeah.
But it's not, though.
No, it's
we
not.
all know that it's more than that. Yeah. We also said Ozzy wants to protect Fizz, but also potentially, like, feels jealous that other people are sexualizing, which I don't know. It's definitely...
Yeah, I was rewatching the scene today, and that's what I was like, like, I didn't think that before, but the way he says it is, like, it bothers me. Like... Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone would enjoy seeing their romantic partner be sexually objectified.
That's true.
Like... I think maybe it's, like, a strategy he's trying in this case where he's like, okay, I don't think Fizz is going to stop doing this for his own sake.
Yeah.
So maybe if I tell him that I'm upset, like, that's not ideal. Like, he should, want to do it for himself, but maybe that's the mindset.
That's true. I just am well, maybe not necessarily jealousy, but anything to do with Fizz and other people is, like... Ozzy's really intense.
Yeah, Ozzy is very overprotective. And, like, he's definitely in the right here, but he is the guy who will go a little too far and overstep.
And I guess also, maybe jealousy isn't as big of a problem because he does bring Blitz in, but I guess he doesn't know any of their history in that regard.
Yeah, or maybe he does.
Maybe he does. Mm-hmm. We don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
He doesn't mention any of that when he says... Is this Fizz's? We'll get to that.
Yeah.
And it's really long and there's nothing romantic in there, so I feel like he would have thrown it in there if he knew.
Mm-hmm. Then Ozzy says, sometimes heroes let you down, which Ozzy wants Fizz to, like, if he wants to do this performance art and stuff, like, it should be for himself and his own fulfillment, and it shouldn't be to, get the approval of an Australian dickwad.
Yeah, and he does say that, not verbatim, but, like, he's like, it should be for you. And, like, Fizz kind of reiterates, and it's like, it's for me, I don't want to lose.
Right.
Which we see later.
Yeah.
Conflates into something bigger.
Yeah. The whole heroes, you can get to that in a second, but the whole heroes let you down thing, it's, in this instance, it's about, like, Mammon, specifically, but it's also, like, sort of central to a lot of the show's themes of, like, parent being disappointed by a parent, especially in... I mean, we don't know anything about Fizz's parents, but he was...
Well, I think the thing is that we don't know anything about Fizz's parents.
Exactly, yeah. And at the very least, Cash is, like, a shitty father figure to him. So, yeah, I think it's interesting through the lens of parenting.
Yeah, and also through the lens of he looked up to Blitz.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then he, up until, like, right now, thought that Blitz fucking blew him up on purpose.
Yeah. Can you fucking imagine? It's honestly amazing that they're already back to being so chill with each other.
Well,
Imagine going 15 years thinking that your best friend deliberately exploded you.
Yeah, on your birthday.
On your birthday. And then you, like, even though he knows now that it was an accident, can you imagine just immediately going back to normal?
Imagine, and then he saved him from exploding him again.
That he caused it! Yeah. Imagine if you exploded me right now. and then 15 years later, I find out that it was an accident. I would be like, oh, well, dang, I guess I feel bad that I held it against you, but also I don't feel bad. I thought you exploded me. I don't want to talk to you.
We also don't have history since we were 5 years old.
No.
But also, I think another thing too is Fizz is such a people pleaser, and he gets pushed around all the time. So Blitz is like, forgive me, and like pouring his soul out, and like.
And it's Blitz.
Yeah, has he ever seen Blitz? Blitz
is like crying.
Yeah, right. And Blitz doesn't fucking cry in front of people, right? So like he's genuinely like very much being like, and then also like taking accountability, which Blitz doesn't fucking do. And then so like all of that, and then just the non-confrontation of it all, just being like, okay, well if I like actually get into this and everything, then it's gonna be confrontational when like he actually wants to be in my life, and that wouldn't be such a bad thing. So I'm just gonna go with it.
Yeah.
So then. I think once Fizz keeps healing, it would be really interesting if we see, like, them have a sit-down and be like, hey, by the way, I'm still mad. That was fucked up.
Yeah.
But then also, we do know that he doesn't necessarily, like, conflate that to, like, failure or anything.
Yeah.
Like, he very much is like, yeah, that sucked, and, like, fuck you, but...
Yeah. He does say that, and fuck you still.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So it's interesting. And then also, Blitz is not here by Fizz's choice in this episode.
No, that's true.
So we don't know that they're fully made up yet.
Yeah. He does... Well, they were made up enough that Ozzy refers to him, and we'll get to that, but as his, like...
His sort of
friend now,
so,
yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah.
Is a key word here.
Yeah.
And they are definitely made up enough, or Fizz is just a really good salesman, in Full Moon.
Yeah. No, I despite all of Fizz's, like, trauma and, issues and problems, he does kind of seem like a guy who bounces back quick.
Yeah.
So I guess
just
I'm
like
not...
he said in the other episode.
Yeah. So it doesn't, like... I guess it doesn't really surprise me. Like, and also, like, it's gotta be nice to have your childhood best friend back.
And I think Fizz, too, like... He's not short fused, that's not the right word for it, but, like, if Fizz fucked him... I mean, Blitz fucked him over again, he'd be like, alright, you're out of my life, bye.
Yeah.
Like, at this point.
Yeah.
And I feel like Blitz probably... Like, I feel like... Silently they know that.
Yeah.
They're like, all right, we're walking this.
It's also sort of a thing of like, we're somehow stronger now that we got through you exploding me.
And yeah, it does have to be nice, especially because like there's no one else in the world except for like maybe Barbie that understands what he went through growing up.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, having someone in your corner that gets that and, might understand, like, I'm having this really specific dilemma and it's fucking me up because of this specific childhood experience and all the trauma that came from it. And then Blitz would be like, oh, so real, you know? Like, that's nice to have.
And then they're like, nice, we don't need therapy, high five.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what happens.
Exactly.
And Blitz stops going to BetterHelp, which might help him.
Yeah. Yeah. It'd be really funny if we ever get a BetterHelp sponsorship. Like, I think we'd have to take it.
Yeah. I don't think we could. I used the teen version of BetterHelp for a little while, and I have horror stories, so I don't think I could.
Yeah.
But that was the teen version, so if the adult version sponsored it.
Yeah.
But anyway.
I
have a silly little note.
say your silly little gay songs, gay boy.
Fizz would love Gut Punch / Don't Meet Your Idols, which is the whole title of that song.
That's just one song. Gotcha.
By Everybody's Worried About Owen. The guy who made the Moss song.
I know the Moss song, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say everyone. If you're listening to this fucking podcast, you know the Moss song.
If you don't think you know the Moss song, you know the song.
If you're transgender.
If you are transgender.
But then also Death of a Hero by Alec Benjamin, which I shouldn't speak Alec Benjamin's name in this kind of light. I feel like no one fucking likes him anymore.
I don't know anything about that man.
The water fountain guy?
I don't know.
No? Okay.
No.
Anyway.
Water fountain?
That really annoying water fountain song that was popular so long ago.
No idea what you're talking about.
It's...
Did they say the word water fountain in the song?
So many times.
Really?
And
I've never heard
it is one verse and one chorus.
I'm gonna look up the lyrics. You keep yapping.
Yeah, Water Fountain, Alec Benjamin. But anyway, Death of a Hero is actually a pretty good song. And it really encompasses this whole theme. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I was like, this is not in our original notes, but I was writing the notes earlier, and I was like, oh my god, this is just like. But anyway. Moving into Ozzy and Blitz.
She told me that she loved me by the water fountain.
It's a horrible song.
She told me that she loved me and she didn't love him. And that was really lovely, because it was innocent. But now she's got a cup with something else in it. It's getting kind of blurry at 10:15. He was in a hurry. Ooh, an internal rhyme. To be touching her skin. She's feeling kind of dirty when she's dancing with him. Oh! Forgetting what she told me by the water fountain.
And I want you to scroll through the lyrics and see how many times that verse happens, or that
now
chorus, I guess.
Now he's grabbing her
hips. That. Everyone knows that fucking
song. Kissing her. I like that part.
I like that part, but there's nothing interesting. Like, that's the interesting part, and then that's the rest of the song.
Was this written, like, to be, like, a TikTok song?
I think it came out, like, a little bit before TikTok.
Really? Because it gives me the vibe of, like, guy had a good verse and then built a whole song around it, but the song isn't good. And that's, like, TikTok music.
No, that's real. Also... Oh, it was, like, a Musical.ly song.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that too.
But I think it did come out a little bit before that.
2018.
But then also, really?
Yeah.
I thought it was earlier than that. Also, I don't know if you were an America's Got Talent kid.
Oh, yeah.
But the kid, Maddox something, I think, who did the dance to I Built a Friend, the robot song.
I think I know.
He was like 12, he got like second or something. He was really good.
Wow.
The year after the girl, I don't know my name girl.
Grace Vanderbilt?
Yeah, the year after her.
Oh.
But anyway, the I Built a Friend song, which I actually enjoy. People don't like it anymore. I think it's cute as hell.
Yeah.
It's a little weird because there's like kind of suicide in it by a robot.
Fun.
But I don't know. He did a really cute dance to it, and it's like really well technically done as well.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're so off topic.
I'm sorry. I had to read the Water Fountain lyrics. Blitz is watching horse porn. Maybe it's a spicy rom-com about
There's
horses.
just a lot of neighing, and then they do kiss with, like,
Yeah.
really intensity. And he would just be watching horse porn and eating his little cereal and his cheese and hot sauce.
I don't know if we've talked about this on the podcast or if we've even talked about this as people, but the Blitz with cheese and hot sauce thing, or ketchup or whatever it is.
Yeah, we've talked about this. I don't know about it on the pod, though.
Yeah, so Brandon Rogers in real life does that.
Yes. So it's
that's
just a
why
running gag.
Yeah.
I want to know, too, if because Brandon Rogers writes some of the episodes. I want to know if he's writing these lines or if Vivsy's like,
yeah,
you bitch and your weird snacking habits.
It could also solely be animation department, just like, doesn't.
That's true, but in the beginning of this episode, he goes cheese and hot sauce fizz.
Oh yeah, that's
so
true.
It's a little bit of the writing.
I think it starts as an animation gag though.
Yeah. So
it could have been a thing where like. They were looking at their animation notes and they were like, he has to be eating something in this scene. Well.
Where else is it, though? Because he's eating it here, but what other episode is he eating it?
God, I don't remember off the top of my head.
Is it another episode before this?
Before this, yes.
Okay, I was going to say, because if it's here, then the verbal gag was first.
Yeah. No, there's multiple instances.
If you know what episodes Blitz eats cheese and hot sauce, please comment. Yeah. And we did also see his, like, printed porn of people in horse suits, so we do know he likes at least horse-adjacent porn.
Yeah.
So him watching horse porn would not be that weird.
Harvest Moon,
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. And then Ozzy rings up the phone and he goes, hello, and then he says... Is this Fizz's former bestie, then lifelong enemy, then recent hero, now newly rekindled sort of friend Blitz?
Yeah. Which is, that sums it up.
Yeah.
And also he calls him Blitz. So Fizz has probably also been calling him Blitz since Oops.
And then Fizz calls him Blitz for the rest of the episode as well.
Yeah. Which is, it's so, I love their friendship.
Me too. And I do wonder if they had like a conversation and there is a very specific circus tied reason why Blitz goes by Blitz, and he explained that and Fizz was like, oh, real, okay.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Yeah.
Or if he was just like, I go by Blitz now, by the way, again. And then Fizz was like, oh, sorry, yeah.
Yeah. Fizz is like, so pronouns still? Blitz is like, what? Yeah, the man ones. I love characters who are like, my pronouns are the man ones.
Yeah, and Blitz says that and then doesn't ask back, and then we never know if Fizz's pronouns update.
Fizz is like, oh, right. they, them.
No, Fizz better have a pronoun revelation because there's something going on there.
There's something going on there. Yeah.
Even if it's like the occasional they. Even if it's like a he, they, and it's mostly he.
Yeah.
I think there's a they there. Mm-hmm. Or maybe a neopronoun.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah. Ozzy introduces himself as Asmodeus, which is
and
really...
He says, the big Oz himself, is what it says.
It's really funny that he introduces himself that way, because one, it's like, this is a professional conversation. My given name is Asmodeus. But also imagine you get a phone call and it's just like, hello, I'm Asmodeus, the sin of lust.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, and then Ozzy says, You've lived rent-free in Fizz's head for years, so I can't help feel he values your take on things. And this is getting into that is Ozzy jealous kind of thing.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't know that it's necessarily true that he is.
I think he can also inherently be jealous of the fact that Blitz is better at getting through to Fizz. Like, you know, like, not in a romantic way.
Yeah,
like, he can be like, why the fuck is this stupid guy who ruined Fizz's life more trusted by Fizz than me? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the question remains, did Fizz mention that Blitz asked to make out? Probably not.
Probably not.
But it'd be really funny if he did.
Yeah. Because then the jealousy would kind of be warranted.
Yeah.
But I just with the whole conversation they had afterwards, the whole last episode encounter, I don't think he would have brought that up because they were already on the I'm never going back outside again advice. So
yeah, I think it'd be really funny if Fizz was like, oh yeah, and that's when Blitz asked if we could make out, and then blah blah blah, and Ozzy is like, you didn't though, right? And Fizz is like, Ozzy, don't be ridiculous, but doesn't actually answer the question. Not and he genuinely is like, no, of course not, but he doesn't say that, and Ozzy's like, but you didn't, right?
There is. You know what? I just realized I don't think we ever talked about this in our last episode, and I don't know if I've told you this.
Oh.
When
Scandal.
Fizz comes into the office, he wipes his mouth.
He wipes his mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I think that is a nod to be like, did they make out? I don't think they did.
I don't think they did either. But that would explain why they're getting along so much better after 15 years. Ew.
But yeah, wiping his mouth is a specific animation though.
It's very specific, yeah.
And it could be animated that way to be vague and nothing happened, you know? Because, he is fucking bleeding from everywhere and so wiping his mouth makes sense. But it would be interesting.
Yeah, it's surely included for some reason, even if that reason is just to make us think it happened.
I also do think that either fuck, I forgot everything I was gonna say. I had bullet points and I forgot it all. I think that either they didn't make out, or they did and he hasn't told Ozzy, and that tells a lot about their relationship. If he doesn't feel... Because, their relationship on the surface of how we see it is very, I would 100% expect if they, even if they pecked or eat anything, Fizz to be like, I'm so sorry. I kissed him, and they talk about it.
Even if Blitz kissed him and Fizz didn't kiss him back, yeah.
Yeah, so if they did make out and he didn't tell Ozzy...
Yeah.
That says a lot about where they are and also where they're going.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
And then our last note for this bit is Blitz says on the phone, my special skills are killing things without giving fucks and pointing out people's flaws, so I'm in.
Yeah.
But that's...
Yeah.
That's such a statement.
Hey, if you're good at something, you should probably capitalize.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do a time check.
Time check?
Okay. That's not that bad.
That's not that bad.
We should try to quick fire, though.
Okay.
Because we're getting into the pageant.
In the pageant. Did you have anything else to say?
No.
Okay.
No, sir.
So the Blitz, when they're walking up, through the pageant, he, looks around and he says, I haven't been to a clown pageant or a clown event in years, and then immediately whips out a gun.
Yeah. Fizz, is this in direct response to this, or is this just...
No, this is, to Ozzy.
Yeah.
When he's, explaining why Blitz is there.
Yeah, and Fizz says, little sus, babe.
Yeah.
Probably doesn't want Blitz's dumbass fucking anything up for him at this very important clown pageant. And because, he knows how Blitz feels about Mammon, so he probably suspects that, Blitz is partly here to either, at the very least, he suspects that Blitz is here, to protect him in some capacity that Ozzy can't.
Yeah, and that's what Ozzy says.
And that's what Ozzy says, but also, like, I think he probably gets the idea of, like, oh, interesting. My boyfriend was saying how he doesn't want me doing this pageant, and now Blitz is here, and Blitz hates this pageant.
Yeah.
He's not stupid.
No,
I
he's
feel
not
like he's
stupid.
putting the dots together.
I think also, too, it would be interesting if he's kind of, like, toying with the idea of, like, if... Like, does he have a harder time fighting off Blitz? Because Blitz, like, doesn't fundamentally know him better than Ozzy. I wouldn't say that. But, like, Blitz knows his entire history and his entire build-up to working with Mammon. And so if Blitz is like, dude, you're better than this, like, would he believe him more?
Right.
Because he genuinely knows, like, his work and his, ability?
I think it would definitely mean more.
Yeah. And I think also the whole thing with Ozzy is, like, Fizz feels like he has to do this to keep Ozzy. So he's not going to take shit that he says because he's like, you're going to leave me after this.
Right.
But, like, Blitz is fucked up so bad, he knows that he's around, you know?
Yeah.
So when Blitz says it, he's like, fuck, maybe he's right. You know, like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And why can't Ozzy be there?
Yeah.
That's the question.
I feel like it's definitely something to do with Mammon. I feel like they don't get along and they're two deadly sins. And, that would make a lot of sense.
It's probably like if they had some like serious conflict, like that would be bad for Hell probably.
Yeah.
So,
and also like if Mammon was like, you cannot be on my turf, you know, like that would be fair. This is Mammon's land.
I'm so sorry, I dropped a pen.
That's okay.
There might even be like rules about like the sins being in the same place in general.
Yeah.
You know, just because they're all.
Yeah, that's a good world building question.
Yeah. Blitz is wearing the same bodyguard outfit that he was wearing back in Harvest Moon. He's
wildly different contexts.
Well, yeah, see, that's the thing. That's the thing. Yeah, he's got a fit for every occasion.
Yeah, but it's the same fit when they're adjacent.
Exactly. He's willing to whip it out, yeah. Mammon grabs Fizz's face, which is very, like, parent-child-y.
It's very similar to the way that Crimson grabs Moxie's face, except honestly, Mammon squishes it more.
It also sort of calls up that, not at all the same, but when Stolas grabs Blitz's face in Truth Seekers.
Yeah.
Which, like, not the same, but also, like, there is a parallel there.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah. And we talked about that in Truth Seekers. Yeah. I'm sure.
And Mammon calls Fizz his bright, shiny baby, brand baby.
Yeah. And Fizz calls him Sir, which really...
Yes, Mammon, sir. Because he's squished.
Yeah. Now, okay. We were talking about this earlier. So
we were talking about this in the dining hall with our friend.
I'm already so angry. So, okay. Mammon fat shames Fizz. Which one... Where? This is a Vivzy Pop TV show. Yeah. No, there's no one... but yeah, Blitz is, like, appalled and, like, has a very negative reaction to this happening. But him and Luna fat shame Moxie all the time, which again, where? And, like, I think, like, the joke with Moxie...
That's my laundry timer, listeners.
How dare you?
Sorry, keep going, I'll get it after this point.
With, like... Blitz and Luna have both fat shamed Moxie before, and, like, I think the joke there is supposed to be, like, yeah, Moxie's not fat, so therefore this is funny and not offensive. But then, like, the same thing's happening here where Mammon is fat shaming Fizz, and, again, Fizz is a twig, but then Blitz is still just... instead, Blitz is, like, upset about... And it's, like, it doesn't...
He takes off his shades and goes... What?
Yeah.
Like, not just upset, like, appalled. Like, he's like, are you kidding?
I think what it might be, and it's still not good, the whole, like, weird relationship that this show has with, like, fat phobia and, you know, all of the characters being skinny. Like, I think what it's probably attempting here, because it's the only thing that makes sense, is that with Moxie, it's Blitz views it as like a light ribbing, you know, this is my friend and coworker, so it's fine. And then in this situation, it's like, oh, what the why does this guy think he can talk to Fizz like this?
Yeah, it's also a guy, well, because the thing is from, like, Blitz's point of view, it's a guy in a position of power controlling Fizz, and, like, very rightfully, like, he is a performer, so, like, Fizz probably would have to do that.
Yeah.
You know? But it is a similar dynamic with Moxie because Blitz is his boss, but he might not see it that way.
Right. Yeah. Blitz thinks they're all like a family. But you know the job listing for IMP would be full of red flags. It's like, we're all family here, and like,
What job listing for IMP?
I don't know.
Yeah, another thing with this too is that, and this is, people are gonna be all like, you're being so dramatic about this, because they love to say stuff like that, but because I've said this in comment sections and I've heard you motherfuckers. But basically, we actively see the harm that the fat phobia and the fat shaming, it's not even fat phobia and fat shaming is a fucking thing. But that in Moxie, like he comes up and he's like, I weighed myself this morning, I lost weight, and they keep making fun of him.
Yeah.
So it's like, I would say that situation's even not worse, obviously, like, but as far as the effects of like the fat shaming, actually what we see.
Yeah. Moxie's
like actually observing or showing showing effects of it.
Yeah.
And they're still gagging and joking and treating it like they treat his like, hey, I am developing an eating disorder and or an unhealthy relationship with my body as a joke.
Yeah. Which is crazy.
And then this here is like trying to make a statement.
Yeah.
And I get that this is more paralleling, like this is definitely meant to parallel like real life situations with performers and things, and I get that, but you can't have both in one show.
And also none of this pairs well with the whole patent Vizzy Pop art style of like everyone is skinny except like some villains maybe, and like some women that we're just gonna sexualize in our merch. Yeah,
exactly. And our friend brought up a good point that like Mammon is bigger. Like I don't know if that's like if he's meant to be fat or if that's like, because it's different because he's a Sin and he's like genuinely just built a lot different.
Yeah, same with Ozzy.
Yeah, but Ozzy is definitely like meant to be swole, like his shoulders. Yeah, like he's meant to be strong, I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's interesting because like I can't name like a plus size or even mid-size character other than maybe Luna,
like,
but that's tricky.
Again, that's like, even if they don't like. They know people are gonna just sexualize her, Yeah,
like, and Luna's human disguise is not mid-sized.
No,
it's skinny as fuck, like one of the skinniest, I would say.
Yeah. I think B is someone with very similar proportions to Luna.
Yeah.
Again, yeah.
Yeah.
It.
And I'm sure if B had a human disguise, it would be similar to Luna's. In that regard.
I feel like Millie is like very skinny, pretty skinny, but then like in the merch and stuff, like they really show off her like curves.
Well, Millie is curvy, but she's curvy and skinny. Yeah. Like her waist is skinny. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not like she's curvy and like plus, or even like curvy and tall. Like not like she's,
The show and art style is genuinely like the definition of another unrealistic body expectation. Yeah. Not even just in general.
Yeah. Like, and like this show is definitely bad, but I feel like Has-Been is also like an even more prime example.
So bad.
It's so bad.
It's so bad. It's really bad.
I feel like if you're gonna design character, like an art style is an art style. Mm-hmm. I would love for there to be plus and mid-sized characters on the show, and I think there should be, but I get that an art style is an art style, but you cannot talk about weight and fat phobia and body image if all of your characters are going to be twig size. Yeah. Like if that's that's my art style, you can't have these conversations.
Yeah, like shut the fuck up then.
Yeah. You kind of have to pick one.
Yeah. And it should be the other. It should be draw fat characters.
Yeah, draw fat characters and
have those conversations if you want. Yeah.
The right way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's our thing on that.
Yeah, and we talk about this a lot throughout, but that's a big one.
Also, I do feel like I need to know, I meant to say this, talking about disability rep, I do give this show a lot of credit for disability rep. I do feel like I need to say that they did say the R slur in the pilot, though.
Oh, yeah, and reference it in,
the hospital.
What's it called?
It's the one where he gets so hurt. What is that called?
What's it called?
We don't have a brain anymore. We lost it. We threw it away.
Hang on. Okay, going through season 2. The Circus, Seeing Stars, X's Nose, Western Energy. There it is. Yeah. That one.
Oh, because it has nothing to do with the hospital. So that's, like, we were like...
Huh? I couldn't stop thinking Harvest Moon.
I was thinking Queen Bee, and I don't fucking know why.
You're not even in the right season.
No, I'm not.
Go get your laundry.
Yeah. we're going to pause the podcast for just a moment. Boop. We are back on our get laundry break that ended up being an eat cookie break. We have decided that we are going to wrap up early because we have some pretty big topics to talk about in the second half of the episode, and we don't want to rush through them to make sure we don't go over the 2-hour mark and like do them justice. So we're going to do a 2-part episode. Maybe it will be a short episode next time, which will be nice.
Yeah.
Because we haven't had one of those in a good minute.
A while. Yeah, but don't leave yet. We're not done yet. We're going to do some more points real quick.
Yeah, we're going to do everything else that's in the setting of kind of the entering the runway with all the paparazzi, that setting, and then we'll come back when we get onto the stage with everybody.
Yeah.
In the next episode.
So we talked about the fat shaming and all that.
Yeah. Fizz salutes to Mammon.
Yeah. So military.
Yeah. Like yes sir. Which again, just very like uses of power and Fizz feeling very like subordinate.
Yeah.
And then he takes a deep breath and goes, smile inside and out.
And it's so fucking sad.
It's so sad, but also I feel like I need to tell the podcast and also you this because I don't know if I have. This has worked itself to my inner vocabulary.
Really?
And I don't know if it's in a bad way. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't think it's actually in a bad way, but that is fucked up.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's in the same context. Mm-hmm. But, like, it will happen to me unwillingly. And I'm like...
Yeah.
But yeah, this is so sad because it's like... Mm-hmm. Like, putting himself up to perform, like, for everybody. But also the smile inside and out.
Yeah.
Like, putting up the performance, but also, like, revamping himself inside is not the worst thing we see him do performance-wise. So it's interesting.
It feels like Bro's whole existence as a performance, including his emotions, like, internally.
And, like, you know, faking it to himself so that he can fake it to everybody else.
Yeah. Like, there is toxic positivity, and I feel like this sort of goes into that territory of, like, you know, trying to force yourself to be positive instead of letting yourself feel what you're feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. And I think also, like, on a surface level, it can be read either way, but I think in the context of Fizz as a person, it's definitely that toxic positivity of being like, okay, fucking fix yourself, which he does basically say later.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an interesting line, but it is... So, I see a lot of people read it as cute, and I understand that reading as well.
Yeah. It's definitely, like, I don't know if endearing is the right word, but it makes sense.
It's got the right idea, even if it's not done right.
He's a little confused, but he's got the spirit.
He's got the spirit. I think if he like healed and then started saying that, it might work. But
right now,
go ahead.
Yeah, Fizz and Blitz very much like mirror these cunt twins. What are their names?
Blitz and Glam.
Blitz and Glam. Yeah, they're so cunty. I like them.
Yeah.
They're a lot of fun. I know they serve no purpose but to be competition here. Or maybe they'll come back someday, I don't know. But I think they're fun.
I think they're fun, and also, like, again, probably thinking too much into this. I love that they were like, hey, we're women and we're funny, and that's, like, the whole thing. Or not funny, even. Like, we're good performers, and, like, trying to kind of, like, the whole point was to prove Mammon wrong in that thing he said in the beginning, and he does like say, I take back my earlier statement about that. But also, like, Fizz went through so much. Yeah. And, like, women are just more inherently sexualized in culture. So, like, I can't fucking imagine what they're gonna go through. Yeah. And they seem young as well.
Yeah. It's so... Like, if they're doing this, like, to prove a point, but then they win and they're gonna get this contract, like, it's not... Yeah,
and they probably don't, like, they probably think that Fizz is, like, you know, this elitist, as people are saying, and, like, full of himself, like, you know, he has a great life and he's snotty about it. Even though he's not actually snotty, like, you know, like, that mindset, you know? But because no one knows except for us as the audience know what Fizz is going through because we see the behind the scenes, but no one else knows that. Yeah. So they think that they're about to enter this life of glitz and glam, you know?
Like their names.
But they're in for something so much worse, and it's like, yeah, it's one of those things like at the end of the episode when they're like, did we win? I'm like,
oh. Like, yes, but no.
Yeah, you didn't win anything.
Our last note that we're gonna get to for this part is Blitz about the twins says, pile drive those sluts.
He might say cheese and hot sauce here too. He says G's fizz, one of the two. Yeah. I didn't care about the stupid whatever before.
Yeah.
But for fuck's sake, pile drive those sluts.
Yeah.
And then we go right into the competition, which we will get to next episode.
Next time.
Closing business. It's pretty much the opening business, I think. Newsletter. Comes out on Tuesday. Sign up in the link tree on our Instagram at AA Discussions. Sign up. We send you one email a month. You will not get more from us. Mm-hmm. And we'll warn you on here if there happens to be a fucking really good reason we send another one.
Yeah. We're funny. We include pictures of stuff. It's a great newsletter. It's my favorite newsletter.
Wow.
That's probably not true, honestly. I really like the Tom Scott newsletter, actually. You should sign up for Tom Scott's newsletter.
And ours are just Tom Scott's?
Just, whatever floats your boat.
I think also ours are pretty short. It's not a huge commitment. And I'm selling you on this. You don't have to, but
it is fun.
It's fun. We spend a lot of time on it, so we'd love for people to see it. Yeah. People do see it. We got subscribers, but we'd love some more.
Yeah. Instagram at AA Discussions. That's our home base for everything you need to know.
It has a link tree with everything on it. You can get updates. Every single episode we post has an update posted on there from Audie. And then you can also message us with theories. We actually haven't gotten a lot of messages recently, which is sad. Mm-hmm. But we were getting so many over the summer, and it was really nice talking with you guys. Yeah. We love that connection. It kind of reinforces why we had to do this, right?
Yeah.
Did we mention in the last episode that we've hit 5,000 listens?
I don't know, but we did.
I think we're near
5,300 now. Yeah. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you all for everything, for listening. There's some of you that listen when it drops, and it's so lovely.
It's so sweet. Yeah. This summer actually, I was looking at our analytics, and the most listens we've ever got was over this past summer, which is crazy.
And I mean, it makes a little sense because y'all probably had a little more time on your plates.
But we weren't even doing anything for June.
No, so that was crazy. We have such a wacky schedule, and you guys just stay on it, and we appreciate that. Yeah.
You know what else you can stay?
Hold on, I gotta pull up the thing.
You can stay sexy.